Well, yo, isn't Facebook like some impossible thing to master? And even if you can manage to do it, it's gonna take you like 9 years? Yo, what is going on everyone? Hayden here, but that is not the point. I don't care that I'm here, I care that you're here. Because Facebook, why does it take people so long to learn? You might have just saw the intro clip, you definitely did. Why does it take people so long? It might take someone 2 months to start making some money. Someone might hit it right away, but for some people, it might take them a year. It might take them 2 years. For me, I'm gonna go through and explain why it took me over 8 months to actually start getting this process down, and at least how I think, I don't wanna say you can cut it back below 8 months because everybody starts at a different point. Everyone has different resources at their fingertips, but how can you cut your learning curve? So the way you cut yours is gonna look different than the way someone else watching this might. So you just have to keep that in mind. But I wanna explain why it takes so long. I got notes outlined because this is gonna be one that's important. I wanna explain how I learned it, how I started, why I failed, why you actually have to fail, which that's a tough one to get a grip on. You have to lose money, you have to spend money. This is something I always say, people don't like this. You have to spend money to find out if you're gonna be allowed to spend more money to potentially make money. Just hold on to that one. That's gonna come back later in this video. But yeah, so this is something I wanna talk about. If you guys have any specific questions on Facebook, which I know you will, please wait till the end, but then drop your questions in the comments down below. I know this is gonna answer a lot of stuff for you, so let's dive right in. All right, so we're gonna talk a lot about the learning curve primarily. Like I said, it's gonna be cut differently for every single person. And of course, as a douchey way, by yours truly, whatever. So we're gonna switch this up and do a presentation instead of an actual doc. Not the biggest fan of the Google Drive docs anymore. So this might help us keep it a little bit more organized. But I wanna explain first why people actually start Facebook ads. This is just based on my own experience. So if yours is something different, let me know, because this for me, I know this is why I got into it, and from everybody I've talked to, this is why they got into it. Very few people are like 100% transparently exposed to what it is, know that going in, and fully understand what's actually gonna happen. So I feel like if people actually did that, they wouldn't wanna do it as much. There would be a lot less attraction there. So the biggest one, and you can't really argue this, is money. You see people making money, oh, Hayden just scaled a store, 5K to 8K, blowing this stuff up, 2K a day, 5, this and that, whatever. You see all these people, 40 grand a day with affiliate marketing, Facebook ads, this and that, Facebook ads. Yeah, there's a lot of money to be made, but a lot of people don't understand what actually goes into actually creating that. So making money, Facebook is where you're gonna find consistency. If you're doing manual bidding, it can fluctuate a little bit more, but just regularly running these Facebook ads and building out your pixel, you're gonna see a lot more consistency than any other platform. That's a fact. So it's obviously the money end of things. People are like, oh, it's a quick way to make money. It is not. Can it be? No, not in my opinion. I don't think so with no experience. So that's definitely one of the things people are like, oh, I wanna make a lot of money with it, which plays into the second thing. People think it's sexy. It's sexy because it's easy money, it's this and that, and then it's easy money and it's consistent, yada yada yada. That's not what it is. I really am big on expectations, whether it's with e-commerce or selling someone on a service, or bringing someone into an affiliate offer, or I don't even know, even when I'm ordering food at a restaurant and I want a plain cheeseburger, I set the expectations. Hey, you better bring me this, this, and this. I don't want this and this on it. If you bring me that on it, I'm gonna need something different and kind of be a little bit upset. So something like that, where you need to set the expectations the right way the first time around, and you have to do that in your own head. It's not like you're setting that for someone else. So if you don't manage to do that properly, which is hopefully what I'm gonna explain in this video, you're gonna kind of ruin that for yourself before you even start. It's all about the mindset going into something. And there is a massive bug down here. I'm gonna kill you with my Yeezy. Get out of here. Oh, I just knocked over a water bottle, whatever. But I wanna explain my learning process a little bit. I know some of you guys might know the OG story of like what predates everything that I've already done and created, kind of going back to these initial stages. Some people might know it, a lot of you don't. When I first started e-commerce, okay, I was transitioning out of being an Instagram influencer. I still had a couple of my pages. I'd flipped a lot of them. A lot of them had gotten deleted, which I told that story before, completely sucked and was just BS. Still upset about Instagram on that one. But 4 months. So I took the first 4 months, and this is, I wish I didn't do this. I knew everything about Instagram. I literally had a friendship. I can take out, where's my phone? I could have literally dialed, FaceTime, whatever, half of these Instagram influencers with all these meme pages, food pages, yada, all these different pages. Literally everything you see. viral videos, whatnot. They were my friends. I grew pages with them. So I had the ability, I knew what worked because people would buy shout outs from me. But I still took the sexy route of Facebook and all this money and the consistency instead of the volatility with Instagram. So 4 months later, I'd only managed to make one sale. And now looking back on that, it was complete luck. Definitely one of the interests kind of popped, found a buyer in there, and that hit in the second month. I got one sale for like 12 bucks. So it really sucked. And after those 4 months, that's when by the way, I hadn't really learned too much up to this point. I flipped it and I started going from a more educational standpoint. So any ads I would launch is purely to test to see, okay, I'm gonna write down, I'm doing this, I draw an arrow, and then I wait for the result. I'm like, what happens? And so I started mapping out every situation on what I would do and what the outcome was. And some of them I would do more than once, or I would do it and then I would do it again with a very small tweak to see if it changes the outcome. Because there's thousands and thousands of different potential outcomes based on everything you do. And then a tree branches into bigger and bigger amount of things that can happen. So you have to be prepared in every situation for that to occur. Now, after those 4 months, I started getting some help, learning more and paying for that education. Then about a month later, after I had really regrouped, about a month and a half, flew through all this information, tried to learn as much as I can while still testing. That's when I focused in on Instagram. So I switched. I'm like, okay, it's not working. Let me try and do what I know, what's familiar. I just spent a lot of money to actually learn this stuff. And I'd spent so much money, which I'm gonna talk about momentarily with my struggles, that just went, I just pissed it away for no reason. It was a really bad situation. But essentially, switched to Instagram to actually get that cash flow as well as build data, which is what I learned when I went and, bought all these courses, asked these people for help. I learned about, a pixel and what this means and what it can do for you, as well as why it's important. So started, taking action on that with Instagram, making money, and then transitioned it back into Facebook a couple months later. And that was kind of the rebirth, if you will, of actually starting to create results. And it took a couple months after that point to actually start getting any sort of consistency. So one of these things that I want to really point out to you is that just because that stuff worked, after I, failed, transitioned in Instagram, transitioned back, took another couple months to actually figure it out, and then it started working again. What that thing that was working back then, it doesn't work now. It's completely different. I guarantee you in a year, things are gonna be completely different, especially with all these regulations changing going into 2019. Everything is constantly evolving. So just know that what used to work doesn't work anymore for the most part, at least with what I did. So that stuff's constantly changing. But along the way, there's so much BS, and I didn't even set this up properly. There's just so much stuff that's just the most annoying, biggest struggle. One of the biggest ones that I mentioned where it was just a terrible situation where I pissed away a ton of money, the people I was learning from, I'm gonna leave them unnamed because they were big in this industry and kind of this space with e-commerce, completely 100% led me down the wrong path. And they did that to multiple people. So it's kind of unfortunate that that happened. Is it my fault? To a degree, I trusted them. I thought they were my friends and that they would help. But what happened. It led to me wasting thousands and thousands of dollars, along with 4 months of my time when I didn't really have a lot of money. So it kind of sucked to see that happen, but it allowed me to learn so much from it. I try and pull a positive out of every situation. So that's one thing. And now here's an interesting dynamic. Actually it wasn't even just the first 4 months. It was like the first 8 months or so. I knew I wasn't testing enough. Why did I know this? I knew because initially people had told me. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I already know for a fact I'm not. But it was a really interesting dynamic because I wasn't actually doing anything to change it. It's like, okay, Hayden, you're not testing enough. You're selling a pair of Beats, which is definitely not what I was selling, but you're running 2 ad sets. That's it. And then you're, oh, it doesn't work. I knew that I wasn't testing enough, but I didn't really do much to change it for quite a long time. So testing is definitely extremely important. I know I showed you guys like a couple weeks ago a screenshot. I can actually throw it up inside of here. I showed you a screenshot of an ad, like kind of the back end of something that's being optimized and scaled, where it spent like 12 grand, made 40 or whatever, and it shows 84 ad sets inside of that one campaign. That is how you test. So that's what happens once you kind of reverse that, 84 with something that works versus 2. That's kind of why it failed. So there's definitely a lot of variables that go into that. And aside from that, I was watching a lot of people, learning from a lot of people. Everybody would do things, I don't want to say the same and I don't want to say differently. There were a lot of similarities where I could tell one person did everything for all their stores and all their ads the same, but I also knew, I could just kind of see it in how they did things, that there were differences that they weren't sharing with me. So there's another fly flying around here. I'm gonna kill him real quick with this wet book that I left out in the rain. But anyways, there's definitely stuff that people don't share. You know, naturally I understand why. And I think it was really important that I was actually able to recognize that, right? I saw that without actually being able to see the back end of what was going on, which was really, really interesting. So aside from that, one thing I really learned along the way, and I know to be true now so much, and you know, this is what I tell everyone, it's not really a question of if your ad's gonna work. If someone, you know, gives me their store to run their ads, or I'm doing one of my stores, I'm not like, yo, Hayden, is it gonna work? It's not a question of is it gonna work, it's when it's gonna work. The only real variable in that question, that equation, is the actual product. So if you give me a banger product, or I have a really good product on one of my sites, it'll start working right away, right off the bat within a few weeks, because the product is good. But if the product fails, it'll just take a little bit more time. You have to switch and test something else, which is when, right? It's not really if it'll work, it's when that will work. And I wanna give you guys a really short example of something that happened that I thought was really cool with the CPP, which is cost per purchase. For those of you guys who don't know, I had someone who I'm running their ads, right? They're doing something a little bit higher ticket, about $85 to $100 with an upsell on top of it. Before they came to me, they were getting about a $30 cost per purchase on the low end. They couldn't drive it below that, which, don't get me wrong, you know, they were making money. It was like I think a $20,000 a month store, and there was still profit margin, of course. You know, your $30 cost per purchase, let's just call it a $20 product cost, selling it for 80 to 100, you're still making money. But after I started running that for them, and this is where all this other stuff comes into play, I now have their average, and it hasn't even been 2 months, their average CPP down to $9. That is the average, not the lowest. You know, we've had multiple campaigns pop up. There's a fly that just flew in my face. Get out of here. There's been multiple campaigns that pop off and make multiple sales at $3, $5, $8, because that's what happens when you can properly optimize and learn this process. And by the way, this is something I've seen multiple people fail on because they learn something and then they stop learning. I'm learning every single day. Facebook constantly changes. I know, and this comes back to this thing about I knew what other people were doing, but I knew that there was stuff they weren't showing. I know what I know, and I know it works. It's not a question of if, it's just when it will work. I know that there is stuff I don't know. And that is so important. That's what I'm so happy and excited about, is because I actually know that. So I have more stuff to look forward to learning because it's gonna bring more results. And when other people fail and they stop doing it and there becomes less competition, I will still live on. So it's just this constant progression, and I'm learning this stuff, which I don't know about you, but Facebook, I'm a nerd when it comes to it. I really like it. It's fun, it's enjoyable, and that might not be your personality type, that's fine. You know, you should be playing into your strengths, which actually comes into this. You need to play into what actually works for you. If you're not good at something, I don't want to say just outsource it, because to a degree it can be valuable to learn a skill. But if it doesn't make sense, both time or money wise, and you can just keep focusing on what you're good at while having someone else do what you're not good at, that can be so valuable. So that's why, you know, over the last like 5 months or so, and I've never mentioned this on YouTube actually, a few people have asked me privately over the DMs, but I've started running ads for people slowly. Because here's the thing, I'm Hayden, I'm human. I have 24 hours in the day, the same time that you do. So I can only handle a certain amount of people, but it really becomes a process that's just down to the T, where it's not a question of if it's gonna work, it's when it's gonna work. Like for example, if you bring me a good product with a fully built functional site and you have a budget to work with for marketing and obviously pay me, it will work. It's a 100% thing. It's not one of those things where, oh, let me try this, hire a little agency. That's not what I do. You know, I don't wear a suit, I'm not professional. I sit by the pool half the day and just run ads and do my thing. Anything else I have to do. So that's how I structure things. But if you guys are someone who maybe it's not your strength with marketing, maybe you have a store that's already doing 10, 20, 30, 50, 100,000, and you wanna scale that, maybe you wanna build another, you wanna automate it, you wanna take it from scratch and scale it, it's really not that hard. It just comes down to having the right process behind it. Make sure there's a good product and make sure you have a budget. What I'm gonna do right now, first of all, I will never bring on someone who I know for a fact that I can't make it work. If you guys already know for a fact this is something, you know, you guys already have a budget for, like I'm gonna throw out a number, at least 5 to 10,000 money for ads to be able to scale it, which the amount you're willing to spend on ads is gonna portray to how fast you're gonna get results. And then you obviously have the correct product with a fully built site. Or maybe if, you know, I don't like to do all this, but if you have a really big budget, fuck it, I'll do all the research and build your site too and set everything up for you and then run the ads. I'm gonna leave an email down below. This is, please, for serious people only who like genuinely wanna ensure that they get results with e-com. This is something I wanna slowly start offering. So if this is something you guys would be interested, I've been running the ads for over a dozen people now for the last, I wanna say almost 5 months, maybe 4.5 months. Every single person has gotten results. Again, it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. So if you guys already know you have a good 1 to 3 main products, you know, even with one banger low ticket offer, like a free plus shipping necklace, that, which by the way, jewelry is like the easiest, one simple low ticket offer that's pretty good, not even a complete banger, will bring you past 30 to 50,000 a month. So if you throw 2 to 3 in the mix, or you have a really good, slightly higher ticket product mixed with good branding, boom, you now have a 50 to 100K plus a month store with extremely high margins. So it's really not that hard, it's just getting that process down, and this is something I wanna be able to start offering, which obviously I can't do it for everyone. I gotta build a team to be able to manage that, and there's a lot of other factors that go into it. But if you guys want my direct help just to run ads, like I don't deal with any other headache. I play into strengths. That's what I'm good at. That's what I want to focus on. And if you guys want to kind of ensure yourself getting those results on your site, shoot an email down below. If you're serious, please, be more than happy to help you out. And if you guys have any questions, just anything on Facebook, don't try and get too specific on like a crazy example, but something that would give me like a video topic to really dive in on. Like for example, if you're in the add to cart phase and you're trying to figure out, you know, what's the proper amount of pixel data, maybe you're testing doing a conversion for purchase, maybe for initiate checkout, you're running a video campaign, explain your situation a little bit, kind of a phase that other people would be in as well. I'd be more than happy to make a video breaking down a more specific topic, if that makes sense. So let me know if there's anything else you guys can think of. Feel free to drop that in the comments down below. And other than that, I'd very much so appreciate it if you drop a like down below. And of course, join the family, join the gang by hitting that nice looking subscribe button, which, by the way, mark my words, I'm pretty sure, I'm confident we can do this. The next 3 months, 100K subscribers. Can we do it? I'm off to some more destinations. Currently in Thailand, gonna be hitting some crazy content over the next, I wanna say 5 to 6 countries, but you guys are gonna have to stay tuned to find out for that. So be sure to hit the post notification so you don't miss a post, and I'm gonna keep coming at you with these videos every single day. Peace.